Why do people only recognize your presence after you've gone silent? Why does modern society expect constant accessibility and punish you when you finally walk away? And in a culture obsessed with validation, what happens when you disappear? Without explanation? These aren't just philosophical questions. They cut to the core of human emotion. Welcome to StoicCraft, where ancient wisdom meets modern disconnection. Today, we explore a powerful act, disappearing. Not out of cruelty, but from clarity. And the 11 emotional reactions it triggers in others, whether they admit it or not. 1. Confusion. You were there. Then you weren't. Point 2. Curiosity. They start searching for clues. 3. Anger. Silence feels like betrayal. 4. Regret. The what-ifs begin. Point 5. Guilt. Blaming themselves becomes a reflex. 6. Anxiety. Uncertainty feeds their inner chaos. 7. Loss. Your absence echoes in their routine. 8. Reflection. Your silence forces them inward. 9. Reluctance. They resist. Acceptance. 10. Fear of permanence. They fear you're gone for good. 1. Growth. Pain becomes their teacher. 1. Confusion. You were there, then you weren't. They laughed with you, confided in you, maybe even relied on you. Then suddenly, silence. No message, no closure, no explanation. It leaves them confused, scrambling to understand what just happened. Was it something they said? Did something go wrong? Stoicism reminds us, confusion is the natural response to disrupted expectations. When we remove ourselves from someone's life without warning, it forces them to sit with uncertainty, and in that silence, reflection begins. 2. Curiosity. They start searching for clues. Once confusion sets in, curiosity follows. They analyze old conversations, reread texts, recall moments that might offer answers. They even invent theories to rationalize your silence. In Stoic thought, curiosity is a symptom of attachment. We crave control over what we cannot change. By disappearing, you take away their sense of certainty. What's left is a mind obsessively searching for closure it may never get. 3. Anger. Silence feels like betrayal. Eventually, confusion and curiosity turn to anger. Not because you hurt them intentionally, but because your silence denies them a narrative. It's easier to be angry than to admit hurt. Stoicism teaches us that anger is our reaction, not their action. But for them, your disappearance feels like rejection, and that sting compels them to lash out, often internally. 4. Regret. The what-ifs begin. Regret creeps in when they begin replaying the past. What if I had listened more? What if I hadn't taken them for granted? Suddenly, they realize your presence wasn't guaranteed. In Stoicism, regret is wasted energy. It cannot alter the past. But in their world, it becomes a loop, and you, the silent ghost, haunt their thoughts. 5. Guilt. Blaming themselves becomes a reflex. If regret is reflective, guilt is personal. They begin blaming themselves, even for things beyond their control. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe I pushed them away. Guilt weighs heavier when there's no resolution. The Stoic approach is to observe guilt without being consumed by it, but most people aren't taught that, so it lingers. 6. Anxiety. Uncertainty feeds their inner chaos. Anxiety grows in the space where clarity is absent. They wonder if you're okay, if you'll ever return, or if they've been replaced. Every unanswered question feels louder. Stoicism teaches that anxiety arises when we try to control the uncontrollable. Your silence forces them to confront their fear of abandonment and the unsettling truth that not everything gets closure. 7. Loss. Your absence echoes in their routine. You were part of their daily rhythm, now you're gone. The absence is jarring. They feel the space where you once were. Whether you were a friend, lover, or mentor, your departure creates a void. According to Stoicism, loss is inevitable. But how we respond defines our character. They now face what it means to live without your energy, and it's heavier than they expected. 8. Reflection. Your silence forces them inward. Eventually, they stop externalizing and begin turning inward. What kind of person was I in that relationship? What patterns did I repeat? What did I ignore? This is where Stoicism meets its most important purpose, the promotion of self-awareness and virtue. Your disappearance becomes a mirror, and in that reflection, growth either begins or stagnates. 9. Reluctance. They resist acceptance. Despite everything, they don't want to let go. Hope lingers like fog on glass. Maybe you'll reach out. Maybe this is just a phase. This reluctance is natural. Humans crave resolution. But Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from accepting what is, not longing for what was. Until they surrender to the reality of your absence, they remain emotionally frozen. 10. Fear of permanence. They fear you're gone for good. Eventually, hope gives way to dread. What if this is forever? What if they can't undo what happened? The fear of permanent loss is a powerful teacher. In Stoic thinking, impermanence is the rule, not the exception. When they realize they can't rewind the moment you disappeared, they either break or grow stronger. 11. Growth. Pain becomes their teacher. And finally, the silence you gifted them becomes a classroom. They begin rebuilding, not to win you back, but to become someone who understands themselves better. Your disappearance becomes the catalyst for self-worth, resilience, and independence. In the end, they grow. Maybe not because of you, but definitely through the space you left behind. If this video brought clarity, strength, or just quiet affirmation, consider doing something meaningful. Like it. Share it with someone who's learning to let go. And subscribe to StoicCraft for more wisdom that helps you rise above the noise. Guilt often doesn't ask permission, it just shows up. They may not even consciously realize they feel guilty, but their thoughts begin to circle around small moments. A forgotten thank you, an ignored message, a harsh word. They replay these moments in their head like a song stuck on loop. Stoicism reminds us that guilt, while powerful, is also unproductive unless used as a catalyst for reflection. Yet most people don't know how to transform guilt into growth, they just sink into it. That's the silent suffering they carry after you disappear. Loss isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It creeps into their mornings when they instinctively reach for the phone to check if you messaged. It echoes in the empty space during a conversation where your voice once fit. The routine has changed, but their emotions haven't caught up yet. And that's where Stoicism offers insight. We are attached not just to people, but to the habits we build around them. When you leave, they lose more than you. They lose the rhythm you brought into their life. True growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes when something breaks and they realize they have no choice but to rebuild. They may pick up new habits, journaling, exercising, exploring silence rather than avoiding it. They might read, reflect, or even discover Stoic teachings themselves. None of this may have happened if you had stayed. That's the paradox. Sometimes your absence plants seeds your presence never could. Growth, then, is not a reaction to pain, but a response to clarity. And your clarity, your decision to disappear, became the trigger.